Why was States Reorganization Commission formed? States Reorganization Commission was formed in 1954 to recommend creation of states on the linguistic basis. How do the central and state governments enjoy their power in federal system? Under the unitary system, either there is only one level of government or the subunits are subordinate to the central government, whereas in federal power is distributed between center and state. Name the country which follows coming together style of federalism. USA and Australia. Which subjects are included in the Union list? Defense of the nation, foreign affairs, banking, currency, communication. Which type of government has two or more levels? Federal government. Which subjects falls under the concurrent list? Marriage, education, forest, trade unions, adoption, and succession. The subject of computer software comes under which list? Residuary list. In case of any dispute about the division of powers, who can make a decision? The High Court and the Supreme Court can make a decision. Which subjects are included in the state list? Agriculture, police, public health, land. Which groups of countries are an example of holding together federation? India, Spain, and Belgium. The federal system serves which two dual objectives? First, to safeguard and promote unity of the country, and secondly, to accommodate regional diversity. One Quetzal. India has a large cultural, regional, and religious diversity, but there is unity among people. What factors are responsible for this? I. Right to equality. 2. No discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, region, or religion. 3. SCS and STS have some seats reserved and do get representation. 4. Right to freedom of religion and cultural and educational rights. Explain the factors that make federal government in India so attractive. I. Mobilization. 2. Administrative knowledge of the people at all the levels. 3. Efficacy to solve all kinds of issues at respective levels. Highlight any 3 steps taken by India towards making it a federation. I. Reorganization of states on linguistic basis. 2. Center-state relations. 3. Decentralization or any other relevant point. Highlight 3 major distinctions between the federations of coming together type and holding together type. Holding together federation. I. Large country decides to divide its power between states and the center. 2. Central government tends to be more powerful. 3. Federating units have unequal power. 4. India, Spain, Belgium. Coming together federation. 3 marks each. I. Independent states coming together on their own to form a bigger unit. 2. All the states have equal power and are strong. 3. By pooling sovereignty and retaining identify, they increase their security. 4. U.S.A, Switzerland, Australia. What are the 3 lists given in the Constitution? Describe the threefold distribution of legislative power between the Union government and state governments of India. The threefold distribution of legislative powers. I. Union list. Union lists consist of 97 subjects. It includes subjects of national importance such as defense of the country, foreign affairs, banking, communication, and currency. 2. State list. State list consists of 66 subjects. It contains subjects of state and local importance such as police, trade, commerce, agriculture, and irrigation. 3. Concurrent list. Concurrent list consists of 47 subjects. It includes subjects of common interest to both such as education, forest, trade unions, marriage, adoption, and succession. Describe the three-tier system of Indian Federation. ANS. Three-tier system means 3 levels of government. The Indian Constitution was originally provided for a 2-tier system of government. I. The Union government or the central government, and 2. The state governments. 3. But, later a 3rd tier of federalism was added in the form of panchayats at rural level and municipalities at urban level. Every level enjoys separate jurisdiction. Differentiate between coming together federation and holding together federation, with difference between coming together federation and holding together federation. I. Coming together federations are formed when independent states come together to form a bigger. State and holding together federations are formed when a large country decides to divide itself into subunits. In coming together federations the state governments are strong, whereas in holding together federations, the central government is strong. In coming together federations, all states' governments have equal powers, but in holding together federations, this may not be the case. Examples of coming together federations: USA, Switzerland, and Australia. Examples of holding together federations: India, Spain, and Belgium. How is a federal government different from the unitary form of government? Why are federations preferred these days? ANS difference. I. Unitary government has only one level of government, whereas a federal government has 2 or more levels of government. 2. In unitary government, the subunits are subordinate to the center, whereas in a federation, central government cannot encroach on the rights of state governments. 3. In unitary system, center can order the subunits, which cannot happen in federation. A federation is preferred because I. It helps in making administration effective and efficient. How are the powers divided between the states and center? Explain with examples. Describe the threefold distribution of legislative powers between the union government and state governments of India. Describe the threefold distribution of legislative powers between the union government and the state governments. Who can make laws on the subjects which are not covered under these lists, and what name has been given to such subjects? Describe the division of powers between the central and the state governments in India. ANS, I. The threefold distribution of legislative powers. A. Union list. Union lists consist of 97 subjects. It includes subjects of national importance such as defense of the country, foreign affairs, banking, communication, and currency. B. State list. State list consists of 66 subjects. It contains subjects of state and local importance such as police, trade, commerce, agriculture, and irrigation. C. Concurrent list. Concurrent list consists of 47 subjects. It includes subjects of common interest to both such as education, forest, trade unions, marriage, adoption, and succession. 2. Union government can make laws on the subjects which are not covered under these lists. The name has been given to such subjects is residuary subjects. Explain any 5 key features of federalism. Describe the main features of federalism. Enlist any 5 features of federalism. Mention any 5 main features which make India a federal country. ANS main features of federalism. I. There are 2 or more levels of government. India has 3 levels. 2. Each level of government has its own jurisdiction in matters of legislation, taxation, and administration even though they govern the same citizens. 3. Power and functions of each tier of government is specified and guaranteed by Constitution. 4. The Supreme Court has been given power to settle disputes between different levels of governments. V. Fundamental provisions of the Constitution cannot be altered by any one level of government. It applies to India also. 6. Sources of revenue between different levels are specified by the Constitution. 7. There is mutual trust and agreement between the governments at different levels. Why did the makers of our Constitution declare India to be a union of states? Why were some sub-political units of India given a special status? India became a union of states because it consisted of both British-ruled territories as well as many princely states. Some sub-political units of India have a special status. French and Portuguese ruled territories were given the status of Union Territory. 2. Jammu and Kashmir joined India on a special condition. 3. Some units were too small to become independent states. They were made Union Territories. 4. States in the Northeast have been given a special status as they have a large tribal population with a distinct history and culture. CBSE Marking Scheme, 2015. 1 + 4 = 5. U6 Quetzales. What challenges did center-state relations in India face before the 1990s? Why is power sharing between center and state more effective today? UU Board Term I, Set. 62, 2012 or. Describe the center-state relations in Indian federalism. Board Term I, Set. 580,020. 33, 2011. Or. How have the center-state relations been restructured to strengthen federalism? Board Term I, Set. 580,027, 39, 2011 ANS Challenges before 1990. Political scene was dominated by one party both at the center and in the states. 2. As and when the ruling party at the state level was different, the parties that ruled at the center tried to undermine the power of the states. 3. The central government would often misuse the constitution to dismiss the state government. Those were controlled by rival parties. After 1990, now the center and majority of state governments belong to different political parties in coalition. 2. A number of regional parties have become powerful and play a crucial role at the center and states. 3. The era of coalition government at the center has inculcated respect for federal autonomy. 2 + 3 = 5. A 7 Quetzales. Holding together federations do not give equal power to its constituent units. Explain the statement with help of examples in context to India. Board Term I, Set. 69, 2012. ANS, all states in the Indian Union do not have identical powers. For example, Jammu and Kashmir enjoys a special status and has its own constitution. 2. Many provisions of the Indian constitution do not apply here. 3. Indians who are not the permanent residents of Jammu and Kashmir cannot buy land or house there. 4. Smaller units called union territories do not have the powers of a state. The central government has special powers in running these areas. In which list of the Indian Constitution does education come? Y. Board Term I, 6 HTQGTF, 2016-17. ANS education comes under concurrent lists so that both the center and the states can legislate on any aspect of education. CBSE Marking Scheme, 2016, 1. A 2 Quetzales. What status has been given to Hindi by the Constitution of India? Board Term I, Set, 6 AP 67 LB, 2015 ANS official language of the country. 3 Quetzales. Much of the official work in Indian states is done in which language? Board Term I, Set E, DDE 2015. ANS. Much of the official work is done in the official language of the concerned state. 1. A 4 Quetzales. What is the official post for the chairperson of a municipal corporation? ANS Mayor. 1. A 5 Quetzales. Which local body has a mayor as its head? Board Term I, Set, R9 Ajay Gig. ANS Municipal Corporation. WQ7FXWC, 2014 1. A 6 Quetzales. By which name the rural local government is popularly known? Panchayati Raj. Which state in India has a special status? ANS Jammu and Kashmir. 1-1. U8 Quetzales. How many other languages are recognized as scheduled languages by the Constitution, besides Hindi? ANS. Besides Hindi, there are 21 other languages recognized as scheduled languages by the Constitution. The system of Panchayati Raj works at which levels? ANS. The village, block and district levels. 1. A 10 Quetzales. Name the process where power is taken away from central and state governments and given to local government. ANS Decentralization. A 11 Quetzales. Which Indian state has its own constitution? ANS Jammu and Kashmir. One Quetzal. Differentiate between Gram Sabha and Gram Panchayat. Board Term I, Set E, DDE 2015. ANS Gram Panchayat is a council consisting of several ward members often called Panch and a President or Sarpanch. It is the decision-making body for the village. The Panchayat works under the overall supervision of the Gram Sabha. All the voters in the village are its members. 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 3, CBSE Marking Scheme, 2015. U2 Quetzales. State any 3 differences between the local government before and after the constitutional amendment in 1992. ANS Local government before 1992. I. It was directly under the control of the state government. 2. Elections were not held regularly. 3. Elections were controlled by the state governments. Local government after 1992. I. Local governments have got some powers of their own. 2. Elections are held regularly. 3. An independent state election commission is responsible to conduct the elections. 1/2 times 6 equals 3. U3 Quetzales. How has the Panchayati Raj strengthened the democracy in India? Express your views. Board Term I, Set, CB4QHT1, 2016-17. ANS Panchayati Raj is the best example of decentralization of power. I. People can get their most of the problems solved at the local level. 2. People can think and plan for themselves. CBSE Marking Scheme, 2016, 1 1/2 plus 1 1/2 equals 3. A 4 quetzales. Do you take decentralization as means to minimize the conflicts? Give your viewpoint. Board Term I, Set C5 Chwevd, 2015. ANS. Yes, it helps in the settlement of a large number of problems and issues at the local level. I. It provides a platform for the direct participation of people in decision making. 2. In another way, decentralization in the form of local self-government is the best way to realize principles of democracy. CBSE Marking Scheme, 2015 1 1/2 plus 1 1/2 equals 3. A 5 quetzales. Describe the significance of decentralization. Board Term I, Set, A2, 2011. Or, do you take decentralization as means to minimize the conflicts? Board Term I, Set XOKG 258, 2015. ANS Significance of decentralization. I. It helps in the settlement of a large number of problems and issues at the local level. 2. It provides a platform for the direct participation of people in decision making. 3. In another way, decentralization in the form of local self-government is the best way to realize principles of democracy. 1 times 3 equals 3. Explain 5 changes towards decentralization brought in the Constitution after the amendments made in 1992. What is the meaning of decentralization? Explain any 4 provisions that have been made towards decentralization in India after the constitutional amendment in 1992. Which 5 provisions of the constitutional amendment of 1992 strengthen the third tier of democracy in India? Explain. Explain any 4 provisions that have been made towards decentralization in India after the constitutional amendment in 1992. What is meant by decentralization of powers? Explain the importance of local self-government by the light of decentralization. How has the third tier of government in our country been made more effective and powerful by the constitutional amendment of 1992? Describe any 4 constitutional steps taken in 1992 towards decentralization in India. ANS, I. Decentralization, when power is taken from central and state governments and is given to local government, it is called decentralization. The Constitution was amended in 1992 to make the third tier of democracy more powerful and effective. 2. Provisions of the Constitutional Amendment of 1992 are: A. Now it is mandatory to hold regular elections to local government bodies. B. Seats are reserved in the elected bodies and the executive heads of these institutions for SCS, STS, and OBCs. C. At least 1/3 of all positions are reserved for women. D. An independent institution called State Election Commission has been created in each state to conduct panchayat and municipal elections. E. The state governments are required to share some powers and revenue with local government bodies. Analyze the advantages of decentralization. Explain any 5 advantages of decentralization of power. Advantages of decentralization. I. Sharing of power between center and states and local government reduces conflict. 2. Large number of problems and issues can be best settled at local level. People have better knowledge of problems in their localities. 3. People have better knowledge of their own problems. 4. They know better on where to spend money and how to manage things efficiently. V. People at the local level will participate directly in decision making. What is the rationale for decentralization of power? Explain the structure of rural local government in India. ANS. The basic idea behind decentralization. I. Large number of problems and issues are best settled at the local level because people have better knowledge of their local problems. 2. It helps in promoting direct participation. Structure of rural local government. I. Zilla Parishad, all the mandals in a district together constitute the Zilla Parishad. Most of the members are elected and headed by a chairperson. 2. Panchayat Samiti or mandal or block, the members of this body are elected by the entire panchayat members in that area. A few gram panchayats are grouped together to form this government body. 3. Gram panchayat, a council consisting of several ward members often called panch. The president is called sarpanch. It is the decision-making body for the entire village. What is a gram sabha? Describe any 4 functions of a gram sabha. Gram sabha, a body comprising of all adult members of a village or a group of villages. Functions of gram sabha. I. It elects the members of the gram panchayat. 2. The gram sabha supervises the work of the village panchayat. 3. It approves the annual budget of the panchayat. 4. It reviews the performance of the gram panchayat. Explain any 5 features of Panchayati Raj system in India. Two. Each village has gram panchayat. 3. It has panchs and a sarpanch. 4. He/she is directly elected by the adult population living in the village. V. Panchayat works under the Gram Sabha. 6. All the voters meet at least twice or thrice in a year. 7. Few Gram Panchayats form Panchayat Samiti or block or mandal. Explain any 5 provisions of the Constitutional Amendment of 1992 that strengthened the third tier of government in India. The Constitution was amended in 1992 to make the third tier of democracy more powerful and effective. Now it is mandatory to hold regular elections to local government bodies. Two. Seats are reserved in the elected bodies and the executive heads of these institutions for SC, ST, and OBCs. 3. At least 1/3 of all positions and seats are reserved for women. 4. An independent institution called State Election Commission has been created in each state to conduct panchayat and municipal elections. The state governments are required to share some powers and revenue with local government bodies. The nature of sharing varies from state to state. Why has federalism succeeded in India? Which were the policies adopted by India that ensured this success? Explain. ANS federalism has succeeded in India due to the nature of democratic policies in our country. The policies adopted by India to ensure this success. Linguistic states. After independence, the boundaries of several old states were changed in order to create new states. The creation of linguistic states was the first and a major test for democratic politics in our country. 2. Language policy. The second test for the Indian Federation is the language policy. The Indian Constitution did not give the status of national language to any one of the language. 3. Center-state relations. Restructuring the center-state relations is one more way in which federalism has been strengthened in practice. 4. Decentralization of power. Power in India has been decentralized to the local government. The local government includes panchayats in villages and municipalities in urban areas. Local governments have made a significant impact on Indian democracy. At the same time, there are many difficulties. Impact of local self-government on Indian democracy. Constitutional status for local government has helped to deepen democracy. 2. It has increased women's representation and voice in our democracy. Difficulties. Gram Sabhas are not held regularly. 2. Most state governments have not transferred significant powers to local government. 3. State governments do not provide adequate resources. Assess the need for local government. ANS need for local government. There are a number of problems and issues that are best settled at the local level, because people have a better knowledge of the problems in their localities. 2. The local people are aware of their needs and can prioritize. 3. It helps to initiate the process of direct decision-making. 4. It helps to inculcate the habit of democratic participation. Local government is the best way to realize one important principle of democracy, namely local self-government.